We'll call to order the second special session. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, do we need a roll call for this one also?
I can do one.
Please go ahead.
Mr. Jensen?
Here.
Mr. Harper?
Here.
Mr. Miskman?
Here.
Mayor Abu-Osley?
Present.
Ms. Menzer? Mr. Brandt?
Here.
Mr. Sterned?
Here.
Okay, we have one resolution on this agenda.
Mayor, I move to approve resolution number 32314, setting date of public hearing for April 17th, 2025, regarding the proposed fiscal year 2026 budget.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 32314, setting the date for a public hearing, April 17th, 2025, regarding the proposed fiscal year 2026 budget. Any discussion on the resolution to set the public hearing?
So Your Honor, there is a short presentation.
Okay. Please proceed.
So we just wanted to remind everyone on council that so this is setting the public hearing for our proposed fiscal year 26 budget. This is a process that starts, which actually started way back in July, with many touch points along the way with council. We do understand that some residents may be seeing some of the stuff for the first time, so we do encourage our residents to review this packet. There is links to previous meetings so they can review all of the material that have come before this. So I just wanted to remind of the only change from the budget work session to until now that was addressed on February 20th was the small increase in the transit cost after we got that firm number. So that was the only change, and you'll see that in your packet. I did want to give a quick update since it is in the budget and those documents that will be published as far as the capital improvement program. Due to some timing issues with the trunk sewer project, the design process and the permitting took longer than expected for project 4 and 5. So you'll just see that there is just a shift in expenditures from the last CIP document that you saw. And we'll set the public hearing for the capital improvement program next Thursday. And so that change is also in that memo that you'll see. So, and then project 9, those timing, it is related. It's a project that we needed to get firm bids for project 4 and 5 before we moved on to project 9. So again, that's just shifting because of project 4 and 5, but no net dollar impact. So we just also wanted to remind of the processes that are coming up. So like I mentioned, setting the public hearing for the capital improvement program on Thursday, and then we will hold the hearings for the adoption of the budget and the CIP on April 17th. And then late April and early May, we will also have some utility rate discussions also. So for that, I'll open up to any questions. Yeah.
Any discussion or questions for staff?
I've got one comment.
Go ahead.
I think since we've got a pretty good crowd here today, I think it might be prudent. We've done this in the past at past meetings, but it might be prudent if our city manager or Leanne will describe what our process is on how we do arrive at our budget numbers for the general fund.
Thank you, Councilmember. The budget process that we go through is a year-long budget process. We start the planning for the next fiscal year as we start our first fiscal year. It always starts with the publication of a budget calendar. And we certainly, that's available on our website. That's adopted by the council at a public meeting. And we, as Brian had mentioned, that we have multiple touch points with the council at the city council meetings on the various aspects of the budget. The budget preparation, Marion is a unique community in the fact that we do the zero-based budgeting. So our budgets, the departments have to start at zero and justify every single expenditure within their departmental budget. And that is a separate process that we go through. That begins August through December. Departments will put those together. They have to justify every single dollar that is being requested. Goes through the finance department, and then it concludes with a review, myself, the deputy city manager, the finance director, to go through and make sure that those are in line with the council's direction, which, as the council knows, is based off of the community survey that is done every other year. Those priorities are established by the city council based on that community input, and those requests as part of those departments have to align with that input that's provided. And then it comes before the council. Each step along the way, the CIP, the creation of the CIP or the capital improvement projects. So those are investment in sewer roads, park equipment, any sort of asset replacement. So police cars, fire trucks. So operational budgets are really the people and the supplies needed to run that. The CIP and the asset replacement are the projects that are, as council knows, is based on data. So in terms of how do we direct our dollars, our capital dollars to the roads or to the sewers, it's based on analysis of those assets. And then spread out. We also then, as part of this process, work with DA Davidson on doing a multi-year financial update to look at what is that cost impact, so that council has that information to make those informed decisions. With respect to just a number of things that have been done over the last at least 3 years. Positions, when we have vacancies and positions, those are not automatically filled. Those are reviewed and evaluated to determine if those are needed, and if so, what is the appropriate assignment for the work that is needed. Over the last year, as part of that, we've had at least 2 department head positions that have not been filled. We have looked at partnering with the private sector to reduce the cost, reduce the head count, but also make sure that we're not sacrificing on responsiveness and efficiency with respect to permitting processing and other things like that. As council knows, just last year, we did merge 2 departments, and as part of that, the initial savings was, I think it was $250,000, and then as part of this year's budget process, we learned that the savings were even greater than that. So we do, as part of the zero-based budgeting process, do take a holistic look. We look at different ways to offer services without simply adding headcount to that. We've also, within the last 2 or 3 years, we've looked at our health insurance program, and we've included now an offering. It's a higher deductible health insurance plan, which is less costly for the residents. It puts more of the initial cost for health insurance on the employee, but it does result in a less cost for the employer, and if managed right, and that's the philosophy behind this health insurance program, helps keep our insurance costs lower in the out years through better behavior and utilization of that program. So there have been a number of initiatives that have come out of our budgeting process where we have been very mindful of the taxpayer dollars and making sure that we're fulfilling the obligations that we have in providing health, welfare, and safety to our community, taking into account the community survey, and making sure that those priorities that are funded within the budget are done so in an alignment with what we're hearing from the community. And again, the budget calendar and how that's established is we have at least, I think it's between 12 and 15 touch points with the city council throughout that year as we're preparing the budget to make sure that we are receiving the feedback from the elected officials on those funding priorities. I think that's, if there's anything that I'm missing, I'd certainly ask Kim or Leanne to provide it. And certainly the council is well aware of the process that we follow and the efforts that we've been doing to make sure that we are making that taxpayer dollar go as far as possible. And whether it's merging departments, finding efficiencies, reducing headcount, and simply just not funding projects that were submitted for consideration. An example of that would be last year. One of the things that we looked at was based on community input, looking at expanding the transportation system, the public transportation with Cedar Rapids Transit and Horizon. We did the research with the council throughout the year, and at the end of the day, council made the determination not to go with that because of the extra burden. So we incorporate a lot of data. We have a lot of touch points. Everything that we do is done at this meeting and incorporated into our website, into our materials that we distribute. Certainly happy to meet, as we shared with the mayor, happy to meet with any of the residents that spoke today so we can provide some additional information and answer any other additional questions that have come up. But there's certainly a lot of work that goes into this, and I think council sees firsthand the care and concern that the staff has for the taxpayer dollars. Marion has been used as an example within the State House of a city because of our zero-based budgeting process is what other communities should be striving for. We're proud of that, and certainly happy to answer any questions and talk about anything that is driving any sort of those increases. Many of those things are outside of our control.
Okay, thanks.
Your Honor?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I've
ahead.
just got a question. Kind of in the same vein of that description, Ryan. Can you, I guess, give a little context around how any consideration of an aquatic center is separate from our core budget process?
Yes, great question. The aquatic center by law has to go through a referendum process. That will be put out to a vote for the community of November of this year. Everything that is being done with respect to the aquatic center right now is to provide clarity for the community on what it will look like, where it will go, and how much it will impact the tax bill. That is, and the council has appointed a steering committee that is comprised of residents in the community, as well as members of staff and council members, to work with the consultant on providing some direction on those answers or those questions that they will be providing as we get down into more certainty on what the design looks like and some of the features. As we've talked about with the city council, the process that we have is multiple touch points with the city council. So anytime anything comes out of that steering committee, it's going to come back to the city council at a public meeting where there will be discussion, and we will get direction from the city council on that so that we can have a very accurate data set for the community as they go to the polls in November. The topic of the aquatic center itself started following a community visioning process. I was not here. I don't remember if it was Imagine X or Imagine 8. But that's where the idea of the aquatic center came from. Our aquatic center is beyond its useful life. I believe we had at council's request came and presented what that meant from an expense standpoint of our current facility. And we're doing some more analysis as we're going through working with the consultant on that. But the idea of the aquatic center came out of that community visioning process, because our current aquatic center is nearing its end of its useful life, and it will become more costly to maintain. But again, to end where we began, the process that we are going through is to establish data points for the community so that when they go to the polls in November, that they can vote on if that is going to become a reality or not. Thank you.
Okay, any other discussion or questions? Okay, I'm not hearing any requests for this additional discussion, so we will,
Mayor, I'm
Yes, sir.
sorry, really,
Yeah, go
really
ahead.
quick. I do think the reason that we are having the multiple public hearings that we are is based on state law. This is a result of a recent state law change. The public hearing that happened just in the prior meeting was specifically on the property tax rate. So the action that you are taking here now is to set the public hearing for the fiscal year budget for April 17th. So again, multiple touch points with the council, with the community for this matter. So this is not the action, the public hearing that took place in the previous meeting, the action that's taking place now here, I want to be clear, is not approving anything other than establishing the public hearing date for the fiscal year budget.
Okay, good. Although, would you just share with the public, if people have questions or want to understand more the details of the budgeting process, the details of the actual proposed budget, what are the avenues for them to seek that information and to have their questions answered so that they have a good understanding of what has gone into this budget, what the components are, what's driving it, any questions they might have.
Sure. I plan on asking Leanne to join me afterwards and catch anybody that's before they leave to see if we can establish some time in the future to sit down and meet. I think the council does their weekly office hours and staff is no different, that we're happy to meet with residents whenever, wherever, to go through and make sure questions are answered. If in person's not available, certainly calling City Hall 319-743-6301 is an option. Certainly, we're accessible via email. We do have a very robust social media presence, and anything that's communicated through there is responded to. So we have multiple avenues, in person, email, phone call. And again, I'm going to once this meeting's done, before folks leave, try to touch base and make sure I've got appropriate contact information so we can sit down and make time and go through everything.
And I would just add, if you're looking for something that's at your fingertips already and you want to dig into information, Brian had mentioned during his presentation, attached to the agenda memo for this item is a lot of our budget documentation. Also, if you go out to the city's website, cityofmarion.org, on the budget page, we do have links to each one of the council meetings where we've touched on different budget items so that you can refer directly to those council packets and even watch those Zoom meetings through that channel.
Okay, I would encourage all members of the public to take the time to ask the questions rather than operate on assumptions. Have questions answered, and ask the staff for the details. As we've heard, they're happy to answer the questions and to make sure that everyone has an understanding and is on the same page as to the details. So everything is done in the open, and all the information is available to anyone who wishes to review it. So appreciate that. And with that, we'll go ahead and take the vote on setting the public hearing. All those in favor of approving the resolution number 32314, setting the date for the public hearing for April 17th, 2025, regarding the proposed fiscal year 2026 budget, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. The motion is approved. Anything else before we adjourn this meeting? Okay, thank you all for joining us. The meeting is adjourned.